What's up, everybody? Telly and I are here at Brownie's Marine in Shelbyville, Indiana. We're here with Steve, and he's gonna go over our new boat.
All right, I usually start back here at the motor. It is a 90 horsepower, four-stroke engine. So really all we're needing here is gas and oil in a crankcase. You can kind of think of it as your car, as this is my motor, this is my rear end, or the drive aspect of it. We're going to open the hood. Motor is a 4-cylinder. As you see, they're in line here with the sump in the rear like this. Tilt and trim is going to bring it up and down. If you do your own oil changes, the spigot's located here. The owner's manual, you'll hear me talk about it a lot. 2.5 turns is about all you do this, and it's a petcock style. Oil starts coming out. There's a little hose you can put on it if you want. Drain it in a bucket, put it back in, and you're done. That's where you're going to drain it. Here's where you're going to fill it. Here's where you're going to check it. This is our oil filter. It even has a sump area to catch any oil fill that came out of the filter. And this little guy here, you can pull him loose, and you also get the remaining bit of oil that's out of it. The fuel filter is located right here. You can do the maintenance yourself, and it's not going to impede any kind of warranty. If you want to do your own oil changes and things like that, you can do that. 4-cylinder engine, there is a break-in procedure to follow. What they're going to ask you to do is stay at 3/4 throttle or 4,500 RPM for the first 2 hours. Okay, varying your throttle speed. After that, for the next 8 hours, you don't stay out on the long end no more than 5 minutes, and you come back down. Again, all of this is in the owner's manual. I'm going to fold that page over for you before you leave today. Very important the first 2 hours. It's crucial because you want to do that before we do the late night cruise. Don't put it in a slow ramp and get to an idle ramp. Put in at a fast ramp so that you can get going. Still want you to set and warm up for a minute. I want you to stop and let the thing, so I got a good solid stream. Today I've got it taped up just so it doesn't spray all over the shop, but normally it's going to come out this way in a solid stream, and I want to turn around and see that and let it run for a minute and get good warmed up. The break-in procedure is important because the motor itself has an analog on it. That analog records everything that's going on, your RPM ranges and things like that. There's really no way to detect the hours on the motor unless it's hooked up to the computer on the analog. However, Mercury does sell what's called a vessel view. It can be plugged in line, and from there you can download an app on your phone, and Bluetooth signals come back and forth. It tells you RPM ranges, things you've been doing. Also, you can bring up your hours on the motor. As far as the lower unit's concerned, the lower unit itself is all underneath, behind the prop. You're going to pull both of those screws. One pumps into the bottom, one goes up to the top, puts the screws back in, and you're done. We want to pull the prop every year anyway to check for fishing line and re-grease our shaft that's inside. That's about maintenance on the motor in a nutshell. As far as oil change, again, I'm going to refer you to your owner's manual. You know, owner's manual is where everything's at. It's the Bible of the boat. When you're going to put this guy back on, you want to kind of go straight down with it, and there's a strap there in the front that link hinges in. Once it's there and you see that it's straight and flat across here, drop it in the back, push it till it clicks, and check it because it will not float. Plug for the boat goes in here. It's an expando plug. You put it in, twist the T on it, expands up, and that's how it goes in. Here is the intake for the Livewell and the screen on it. This is the pickup for the depth finder. It's up front. Straps on the back. When we get ready to unload the boat, we'll take the straps off the back, put the plugs in. What you're normally going to see on a loading and unloading procedure on this boat, most of this load guide you'll see it. You'll see just a little bit of water going over top of this. You'll get so far and stop, and it won't go all the way to the bow stop. But with the motor trimmed out and it pushes down, it'll allow it to take it on up to the bow stop, lock it in, and you're done. That's about loading and unloading. Now, there is a safety strap up front. If you're at one of those ramps that you just got to sink the whole truck, bolt everything, seems like to get it off, you can take the safety strap, pull the strap all the way out, and winch it off. A couple different ways. Trailer is a galvanized wrinkle black trailer. It avoids rock chips and things like that really nicely. We've been using tire dressing to clean it up. It kind of keeps blood from sticking on. Wheels. This is where the wheels are serviced. there is a rubber plug here. You can see where the grease fitting is offset. When you start greasing that, it's going to grease the back bearing first and shove the old grease forward. Check them a couple times a year. As long as you don't see any water in them, you're good to go. If it looks milky and creamy, put a bunch in it, go to the lake, come back, check them again. If you continuously see that, we got to get them serviced.
Okay.
The wheels are aluminum, and after the first 25 miles, we're going to ask that you torque them down, and then the next 85 miles, retorque them to 85 foot-pounds. We actually have a little form that you'll sign that we told you about.
You already did that.
Did you? Okay, you already done that today? The aluminum wheels are the worst than the steels because of the heat of expansion and contraction. But if you'll torque them down like they say, once about the second time around, you're usually done. This guy just pops on. Kind of walking around the boat per se. Spare tire. There is no locking lug nut. Just very regular nuts and it comes off. Up here is a trolling motor. To release the trolling motor is kind of deployed right now, and what those guys that have had it up here for demonstration. This would adjust the depth on the trolling motor.
Right.
Okay. This guy pushing here allows me to bring it up and reset it. This guy allows me to deploy it.
It's a lot easier to do when you're up there in the boat.
Right. Everything here is what's going to operate here. I would be a long time going through the instructions of this trolling motor. So again, I'm going to refer to the owner's manual. Biggest one that you'll always remember is that anchor button spot lock.
Yeah, the spot
lock. Once you
lock.
deploy that and turn it on in the middle and get things going, everything that you would do right, left, forward, back is all right here. And it's even got a home that you can go to. It'll go back to a menu bar, let you know more of just things that you can select and cursor over to. I think it does hold some tracks. You can follow a couple tracks that you had made and come back. But that's our Minnesota Power Drive trolling motor. Spot lock's a really cool deal. All right. Cleats are recessed up and down. Some folks like to install another cleat, maybe at midships on the driver's side. That way when you drive up, you hook it up and you're down. I need to dig around in here and get the stern light and the bow light poles hooked up for you. We can operate those and make sure they're working.
I think they were in this compartment the other day.
You may very well be right. Yep, and they have keepers for them in there. We'll build it. Goes missing a 9/16 of a bit. Now, when you put the stern light pole in, like I just did, and getting it tight, be careful not to get too carried away. What happens, that rascal will stick, and you can see yourself out here with a pair of pliers in the top. Just a good snug turn, and it'll hold it into place. You look, put the bow light in, and you'll notice there's a dimple, or a screw here.
Yeah.
There's going to be a dimple up here, and that's what we want to follow down when we turn. And that's here. And then just to snug it. Now when you operate that, they're up here. One of the features for 2022 or 21 this year is we do have a master power now. And that master power switch turns everything on that's in the boat. Once the master power switch is on, now I can operate all of the dash switches. Navigation light. When I go to navigation mode, my stern light pole should be lit. And the port and
Green and red,
light
yeah.
should be lit. That tells everybody, hey, they can look and see I'm going right to left or left to right because of navigation. I want to anchor out and go catfishing. I'm going to go down to the very bottom one and just my stern light's lit. Hey, I'm out here. I'm not moving anywhere. Here's my 360 white light. In the middle of that rocker is off.
Okay.
Horn. And bilge. I can hear it in the back. Aerator, forward, manual, rear, recirc, and manual. Oh, this one. Well, we got two switches. Plug. Gotta go in the bottom. Gonna look like it. Now you can put it in here and it can aerate as well.
They both say, well, one's rear aerator, one's rear recirculation.
Okay, here we go. Rear aerator in the auto means that periodically
Just give them some air.
It's going to bring in some water from the outside until it reaches the overflow. Manually, it's doing it all the time. Okay? Here, once I fill the live well up to the level I want it, I'm periodically recirculating what's in the live well. Here, I'm recirculating what's in the live well all the time. Boat does have a pump out feature. What that means to you is here, so maybe you can see it through here, but there's a red valve that I can pull out right here.
Oh, okay.
If I pull that
I can't see it
valve
from this
out,
side. Let me go to the other side.
I can pull that valve out here, and then on the recirc, hit manual down, it will pull the water out of the live well and pump it out. Some guys like to catch their water that's in the live well for their catch. I rarely use it. I usually just when I'm done, I take the plug out and let it drain out into the bottom. But push that back in, and then now we're operating again like I talked about. When I go to the recirc portion of it, I'm recirculating what's in it. Again, owner's manual. Owner's manual tells you all kinds of really cool stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of paperwork.
Zach, is this somebody's maybe? 9/16.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And I'm gonna do something. Hey, Zach, real quick, give me a hand to these two. All right. Back to the area we already talked about our lights. We covered the live wells now. We covered our bilge. There's our horn. We talked about that. Our master power, what's going to go on there. Tilt and trim, we talked a little bit about it, but when we start, we want to start off with trimming that motor all the way down. Right? That's going to allow us to start to come up. And as we come up, we're going to trim that motor back out just a little bit until we get up on top and get that sweet spot. Normally what you'll find is that the RPMs and miles per hour are going in the same direction, you're doing the right thing.
Okay.
One goes one way or the other. There's something I'm either blowing out, I've got too much going on with the prop back there. The RPMs are going way up. So that's kind of the way to gauge and watch it. There is a trim gauge on here. Where I think it comes in handy, of course, is looking where it keeps you from having to look back to see where the motor's at. But once I figure out where that sweet spot's at, where that fast position is, I look over here and go, that's where my trim's at when it's really happening. Now I'm not even thinking about it anymore. I'm looking at the gauge and it's party's up. Let that come on. Really simple on the little Lowrance.
I know how to work that. We have two of them.
Okay, you guys are familiar with that. Lowrance forward. It's got pages. It's got one that's a.
Well, it's slightly different than ours, but
So you guys have them on your canoe.
so that's not the split shot, is it?
No, no, it's a 4X. So it's got two different pages. I like this. It's the old flasher style. Pretty accurate stuff here. And then of course this one is going to tell me voltage of the battery, what my depth is currently, and what the water temperature is. To shut him off, I just hold it and he goes off. You're familiar with that one. I'm going to jump out and turn some water on, and we'll talk about shifting the bolt.
Here, I get it, Steve.
Thank you.
I heard it. I get it.
We always want to start with some water going to the motor, of course. Not a bad idea to start it prior to the lake, and sometimes you make sure everything's going okay. Once you get some water to it, and we're in the neutral position, the boat's equipped with a guardian system. What the guardian system is it may reduce the idle and bring it down to a slow idle, but it won't get you back in the event that the motor's in trouble. Long before that happens, you're going to hear a series of beeps, which means, hey, something's going on. Trim up and look back to see what the lower unit's about. Or a long beep, and that means stop right now. Let's figure out what's going on with it. But rarely does that ever happen. I tell you about it in case it does, so you'll know, hey, I haven't pulled this thing up. It's not giving me any throttle, but I'm not tore up. I'm in guardian mode. I need to take the dock, let them guys figure out what's going on. Most of the time, though, you'll never ever. I'll be honest, in my 7 years here, I can't tell you how many of these 90s and 115s that I've sold, 60s, we just don't see them back. And they're built by humans. I'm not saying things can't go wrong or break, but for the most part, we really don't. Routine maintenance on that motor, it's amazing. Talked a little bit about oil change. I do want you to run this oil this year and change it at the end of the year, get your brake oil out. After that, follow your owner's manual and what they recommend.
Okay.
Once I've got water going to it and everything, I'm going to hear a beep. What that beep tells me is the guardian system's working, everything's okay, I can start it. I don't have the fuse ball anymore, it's electronically primed. No oil mixture, none of that kind of stuff. We're going to let it get warmed up. I want to see if it's all, again, I got it taped up a little bit today so it don't shoot all over the shop. But I want to see if it's solid screw coming out. And maybe you pulled it a little bit and you don't realize it, it's still hanging, but it's undone. And to recirculate, or to put it back on, I want to go on top of the red switch, push up, and flip it up. You really need that on your person.
Right.
If you get thrown out and you don't have it on, this motor's going to just keep going. It's going to turn itself in circles. So you can possibly run out of here. So this is a major safety thing to have that guy on your life jacket. Charging port here for cell phones, stuff like that. It's located right here. Underneath here, USBs and audio ports and things like that for the stereo. Stereo is an AM/FM Bluetooth kicker. It's got an AM/FM mode 1, or AM mode 1, FM mode 1, and then FM mode 2 and AM mode 2. And of course it'll pair up with your phone. Rod locker is lockable. You're going to get a couple different sets of keys here today. We'll separate them for you if you want me to, but this ignition key, if you will take and skin this back, there's a number in there. There's about 8 numbers that Tracker uses, and that'll save you some time if you'll write that down or whatever if you're going to get new keys. Towards the front, let's go up there. We went through the trolling motor and everything, but I wanted to also talk about tilt and trim up here. We've got tilt and trim at the rear motor for putting our transfer saver on, but we've also got tilt and trim here at the dash.
Right.
That's for making ourselves get up on top of the water. Third place tilt and trim is here. And why I want it up here is if that motor's down, it's kind of acting as a guide and keeping me from blowing around. If I'm into something, I can reach down here and trim it up without having to run back to the helm. That's why I think that's important. And another charging port. Spotlight, charging the cell phone, something like that. Any other questions for me?
No?
How to charge the boat and our batteries. Batteries are located in the middle section here, and here's our onboard charger. All you have to do is plug it in, and you can leave it plugged in. It acts as a maintainer as well as a charger.
Okay.
Okay.
So like over winter, I can leave it plugged in for a long time.
Absolutely, you betcha. And then in here, then your camera won't see it because it's down in here where it's over here. But there's 3 batteries in here. or 2 batteries in here, and that's running the 24-volt system. For some reason, the motor gets bound up in weeds or something like that, and all of a sudden I've lost trolling motor. There's a breaker.
Okay.
There's these batteries. You know, all you gotta do is collapse it back in.
So I've got 2 batteries in here for the trolling motor,
And one back here.
and
for
one
your
back
crank.
here for the.
Right. But
And
your
what are all the
battery charger-
lights and stuff like that, which are run off of which one?
Everything runs off the cranking battery.
Okay.
This just runs the trolling motor.
Okay.
That's it. Now, the cranking battery, the motor does have plenty enough capabilities to keep the battery charged. However, it is hooked to the 3-bank charger as well. And there's a fuse link for it as well. And again, compartments are lockable. Seats is something to cover since you're out there. Okay, right here is a flap that I can flip down, and I can just turn around and get into conversation. If I flip the flap up, it goes to the next, and let it go, it goes to the next locking position. All right, if I want to go forward and back, we'll get back up here to where we'll be riding. We're locked. Flip this up, and I can go forward and back. Same way on this guy. These 2 seats have the forward and back. This seat is just simply a fishing seat that can move front and back. Now, to take the seat out, it's always a good question. I have a button here on the side. All I gotta do, I like to do this. Pull my seat off, release it from here. Then I hit that button and pull that post out. You can see there's a slot here. Now, something I didn't talk about earlier, but is important. This is a non-vented gas system, okay, on this motor. When I hit this button, you're going to hear a sound, okay? The only time I'm going to smell fuel is when this is open. You should never smell it unless this is open. Now, why I tell everybody about it is if it's got a half a tank and it's hot summer, and I'm going to top this off before we go to the lake, and I've been bouncing around on the highway, liable to be some pressure built up. Ease that off, kind of keep your hand on it, because I've actually had a customer before I could get to this portion of my spiel, went, we got some on you. So that's that. You have a hydraulic base start steering, it's going to be an amazing boat for you.
I hope so. So that's everything, huh?
Unless you have more questions for me, I've operated about everything on the boat right now. The 3-bank charger's located up here on the seat, and you will be able to see those 3 green lights with it
Okay.
when they're good. And of course, I showed you the plug-in in the front where the charger went.
All right. Well, I appreciate the walkthrough.
Look forward to it. Thank you for your business.
All right. So, if you're, let me get my finger out of the way of the shot. If you're in the Indianapolis area and you're in need of a new boat or some maintenance or anything like that, check out Brownie's Marina in Shelbyville. Brownie's Marine in Shelbyville, Indiana.